For those of you that love talking about animals, from Sci News. Two new species of horned dinosaurs identified. A team of paleontologists has identified two new species of horned dinosaurs known from fossils found in Alberta, Canada. And now, from prehistoric to present, my name is Ethan. This is Creature Guide Live Prehistoric News. Let's dive right back into the prehistoric news of the day. So, this is a bit of an older article and seems to be these are earlier members of animals such as Triceratops. So these are small species of ceratopsian. Now, the ceratopsians first evolved during the Jurassic period, a little over 160 million years ago. Many tend to not pay attention to that or just know how long this specific group of ornithischian dinosaurs has been around for. However, the Ceratopsidae family of ceratopsians was actually around for a very small amount of time of the Mesozoic era. They first evolved somewhere around 82 million years ago and went extinct at the mass extinction event of the Cretaceous around 66 million years ago. Whereas these seem to be what, leptoceratopsids? Let's take a look. UNESCO ceratops, Kupelhusi, and Gryphoceratops morrisoni, new leptoceratopsid dinosaurs from Alberta, Canada. So these were a small group of ceratopsians, and these are not members of Ceratopsidae. In fact, many tend to associate all species of animals related to Triceratops as Ceratopsidae or ceratopsids, when the truth is it's actually a much smaller scale of ceratopsians. And the leptoceratopsids, they actually first evolved about a million years before the ceratopsids like Chasmosaurus, Pentaceratops, Triceratops evolved, which is interesting. So, a study published in the journal Cretaceous Research describes two new species of horned dinosaurs from the Leptoceratopsidae family called UNESCO Ceratops colhusi and Gryphoceratops morrisoni. I'm guessing Morrisoni is Um, probably named after Morrison, Colorado. I'm just guessing. They lived during the late Cretaceous period between 75 to 83 million years ago. So this is before animals like Protoceratops would have evolved. Protoceratops is interesting because the Protoceratopsids are a close family of ceratopsians to the Leptoceratopsids. Now, this is not Protoceratops, this is Leptoceratops itself, which reached somewhere around 6.6 feet in length or 2 meters and didn't weigh much more than 85 pounds or around 40 kilograms. And this animal was just feeding on different species of ferns as well as flowers and possibly even certain species of fruit within the region. And it did have a slightly larger frill compared to other members of its own kind, but it would have probably mostly relied on its beak for self defense. So let's see. These dinosaurs fill important gaps in the evolutionary history of small bodied horned dinosaurs that lack the large horns and frills of relatives like Triceratops from North America. Well, it's also important to remember that Triceratops has not evolved at this point. If this is somewhere around 76 million years ago, especially when you're referring to Leptoceratops, you would have had animals such as Pachyrhinosaurs that have evolved. Let's see, who else? The Chasmosaurus. Now, Pachyrhinosaurus, however, is a centrosaur, which is a completely different lineage of ceratopsid dinosaurs. Although horned dinosaurs originated in Asia, our analysis suggests that leptoceratopsids radiated to North America and diversified here, since the new species Gryphoceratops is the earliest record of the group on this continent. Wow. Well, that's interesting. So the first ceratopsians within North America around um, what possibly 83 million years old. So that's interesting. If that's true with Gryphoceratops, that would mean this would be before Tyrannosaurs such as Albertosaurus, Dipliosaurus, and Gorgosaurus would have evolved. And it's not hitting me at the moment what specific Tyrannosaurs would have hunted Gryphoceratops at this point. Eucopelhusi measured about 1 to 2 meters or 6.5 feet in length, so it's about the size of Leptoceratops, and weighed less than 91 kilograms or 200 pounds. Okay, this guy is quite dense compared to Leptoceratops. Leptoceratops is much lighter. That's interesting. It had a short frill extending from behind its head, but did not have ornamentation on its skull. It had a parrot like beak. It did? Most ceratopsians, I can't think of any ceratopsian that has a parrot like beak. Parrots have a very long, curved beak that's meant for plucking certain types of vegetation as well as even certain types of prey items. That's not really a ceratopsian, even small species of ceratopsian trait. Its teeth were lower and rounder than those of any other leptoceratopsid. In addition, its hatchet shaped jaw had a distinct portion of bone that projected below the jaw like a small chin. Huh, that is interesting. I guess that doesn't tend to happen with different species of ceratopsian. The lower left jaw fragment of UNESCO ceratops was discovered in 1995 in Dinosaur Provincial Park. Okay, so this is over in Alberta, Canada. It's a very well-known late Cretaceous fossil bed. And yep, there's Philip Curry. Okay, so let's see. Originally described in 1998 by Ryan and Curry, the dinosaur was referred to as Leptoceratops. Subsequent research by Ryan and David Evans, PhD, of the Royal Ontario Museum in Toronto, Canada, determined the specimen was a new genus and species. The species is named for Dr. Ava Kopelis, a paleontologist at the University of Alberta and wife of Dr. Curry. Oh, I okay. I guess that makes sense. G. Morrisoni had a shorter and deeper jaw shape than any other leptoceratopsid. Researchers believe the individual was a full grown adult. Based on unique characteristics of the jaw and its size, the researchers believe that Gryphoceratops was an adult that did not exceed 1/2 meter in length. Oh, wow. That is a wait, 1/2 meter? Wait, that's like 1.5, 1.6, 1.7 feet. That's a small little guy. Wow. Okay, well, let's take a look at some larger individuals. Much larger. This is Procerolophus, which is not to be confused with Parasaurolophus. In fact, any other animal that's ends with Saurolophus. Um, there have been a few different species of hadrosaurs or duckbill dinosaurs with that name in their genus. So, Procerolophus is a member of the Saurolophini lineage of hadrosaurs. And this animal existed over in, I believe, was it Alberta, somewhere around 60. Oh, wait, sorry. About 75 million years ago. And it reached somewhere around 30 feet in length or 9 meters and probably weighed somewhere around 3.5 tons. So it was a medium sized hadrosaur for the region, I guess on the larger medium scale. It did have to be concerned with different species of tyrannosaur at the time, especially animals like Daspletosaurus. So let's see. Tyrannosaurus has not evolved yet, not even Tarbosaurus over in Asia, which is referred to as the Asian T Rex, just simply due to it being the largest carnivore to exist there. Now, Procerolophus, the thing is, another main difference between it and Parasaurolophus is not just them belonging to completely different families of hadrosaur. Parasaurolophus belonged to Parasaurolophini of Lambeosaurinae. So, the Procerolophus did not have a large crest, whereas Parasaurolophus did contain a very large crest. So I think a bit of the question is, how would the sounds have, sounded compared just between the two? Considering Parasaurolophus tends to sound like a bit of a very deep trumpet, where it's a bit of a guess as to animals like Procerolophus and Montosaurus, which it does tend to have it has a much more Montosaurus sort of look to it. And you did have species of Edmontosaurus already existing at this point in different parts of Alaska as well as Alberta with Edmontosaurus regalis. But they were much larger. This is a very stocky version of Brosterolophus. Still a good drawing. So, oh, This is an authentic skull of Procerolophus. So this is very well preserved. This animal had also hundreds of teeth inside of its mouth. So these were some of the best chewers of any group of dinosaurs. This is also referring to not just the hadrosaurs, but even the earlier guandontomorphs were the best chewers during the early Cretaceous period. Oh, okay. So this is a smaller species of dinosaur. This is a member of the Pachycephalosaurid lineage of ornithischian dinosaurs. This is Stegosaurus, which is not to be confused with Stegosaurus. These are two completely different families of dinosaurs. They also did not branch off like the Stegosaurs and Ceratopsians did, the Theraphalians. Whereas these actually split off with the um I mean, I think I said stegosaurs with ceratopsians. I meant to say the stegosaurs with the ankylosaurs. The pachycephalosaurs, originally their ancestors split off in between the pachycephalosaurs and the ceratopsians. Stegosaurus was one of the smaller species, reaching somewhere around 6.5 feet, 7 feet in length, and maybe weighing not much more than 90 pounds. So it was a much smaller individual. Now, here it's showing it feeding on leaves. It's also showing it with a very stocky presence. It's probably a much older drawing. I mean, it's still good, but when it comes to accuracy, this animal would have been much more leaner and did not likely have the ability to chew on plants. And this goes for pretty much the whole family of Pachycephalosaurs. The group of dinosaurs that this animal belongs to first evolved during the Aptian stage of the early Cretaceous, somewhere between 113 and 121 million years ago. This individual appeared somewhere around 71 million years ago during the early Maastrichtian stage. And yes, this is an authentic skull as well. In fact, when it comes to, not you, different species of Pachycephalosaur, it's not uncommon to find them with preserved skulls. This goes for animals or species such as Stygimoloch, Pachycephalosaurus, as well as Dracorex, and the same goes for Stegosaurus. And yes, the dome, part of its skull, or just the hard bony shape, was probably to ward off, well, not just ward off, but kill other males during the breeding season, as well as defend itself against smaller species of carnivores. This animal didn't stand much of a chance against larger tyrannosaurs. Maybe they're youngsters, but that's about it. So let's see. Um, Lower right jaw fragments of Gryphoceratops were discovered in southern Alberta in 1950 by Levi Sternberg while he worked for the Royal Ontario Museum. I'm familiar with Curry, but I swear I've heard of this scientist too. Let's see. The species is named in honor of Ian Morrison, a Royal Ontario Museum technician who discovered how the bones fit together. Huh, interesting. Small bodied dinosaurs are typically poorly represented in the fossil record, which is why fragmentary remains like these new leptoceratopsids can make a big contribution to our understanding of dinosaur ecology and evolution. Is that it? Oh, so here we have an animal that lived in New Mexico somewhere around 75 million years ago. This is Pentaceratops, which reached somewhere around 20 feet in length or 6 meters and probably weighed somewhere between 3 to 4 tons. Now, it was also a member of the Chasmosaur lineage of ceratopsids, so it was quite a distant relative of animals such as pachyrhinosaurs, which were members of the Centrosaur lineage of ceratopsids. So it's also unlike animals such as possibly even Styracosaurus. I gotta be careful with that individual. I'll say Chasmosaurus, like Chasmosaurus. It had a very lightly built frill on the top of its head. So animals like or carnivores such as Gorgosaurus or Daspletosaurus would have a bit of an easier time with this individual compared to T Rex having to take on Triceratops, considering Triceratops had the thickest frill of any species of ceratopsian. Now, the Tyrannosaurs, like Dipliosaurus and Gorgosaurus, didn't have the bite force like anywhere near animals such as, okay, I'm going to correct myself. Dipliosaurus was close to Tarbosaurus over in Asia, but Gorgosaurus was much more lightly built. But mainly, Pentaceratops would have probably relied on the small herds that it lived in, and as well as the horns, just not so much the frill. And there wouldn't have been a series of holes either. There have been certain portrayals in movies. Before I go on, this is very fat Pentaceratops, but um, this is a bit more accurate. Um, there are certain portrayals of different species of dinosaurs in movies, especially ceratopsians, where there's this large hole or there's two large holes inside of their frill. And in reality, that would have been covered in a very thick layer of tissue. So it used to be theorized that these frills might have been able to change in color. Like there would have been a series of blood vessels, kind of like with Stegosaurus plates, but there doesn't seem to be any evidence of that. So let me know in the comments what your favorite species of North American or Asian dinosaur is. And from prehistoric to present, my name is Ethan. This is Creature Guide Live Daily News. Remember to like, comment, subscribe if you love talking about animals, and share this show with everyone you know because nothing is better than all animals all the time.